In the last session, we have seen a brief introduction to xpaths, and even we have seen a brief introduction to frames as well. So the basic syntax for this xpath that we need to consider is slash slash HTML tag name open braces at the rate of property type is equal to in the single quotes property value, and we can find whether it is a valid property or not by searching in the same browser itself. Okay, by searching in the same browser itself, we can find that particular information. Perfect. Now, let us identify this particular locator for the bing.com search button. So, right click, inspect on this button. Of course, it's not having any locators, hence I'm going with its parents. Label is the tag name, for is the attribute type, and sb underscore form underscore go is a value. So copy it. Control F here. See, a new finder is opening here. Slash slash label. Open braces at the rate of is equal to. I placed that syntax here. Some here there are two braces. Yeah. So if I deleted that, see, as per my actual syntax itself, I was able to identify one object here. I was able to identify one particular object here. Okay, so here slash slash label at the rate of is equal to sb underscore farm underscore q. Okay, good. Done the deal. Okay, good. And then the next point that we need to consider here is, okay, and here if you observe one of one, it means there is only one object in the browser and it was able to identify that particular object too. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Done up to here. So let me navigate to login.salesforce.application and navigate to the inbox screen. Okay, here I just want to do this. So here, this is the user, right? Right click on this object, inspect. This is having a class name. So copy this class name. One second. Where is this user? Yeah, this is the class name. Copy this class name. So let's identify slash slash span open braces at the rate class is equal to. See here basically one of six. So it means there are six different objects are there in a browser. This is what the first object is. If I hit enter again here, two of six, three of six, four of six, five of six, and six of six. Six different objects are there in a browser. Then immediately a quick question will rise in our mind. If there are multiple objects in the browser, how come my program know that it should perform a operation on second object? How usually it will do? Usually, WebDriver will interact with first object. Okay, usually it will be interacting with the first object that it identified in a HTML. For suppose if your desired object is a first object, then it's fine. Your WebDriver can deal with it. But if your requirement is to identify the third object, then how can we deal with? Right. In such situations, we need to pass xpath with attributes or indexes basically. Xpath with indexes. Okay, let's go back and let us see how this indexes is going to work. So go back here. The syntax is slash slash HTML tag name open braces at the rate attribute is equal to attribute value. I have a defined it. That's fine. I just defined my XPath here, for which I'm surrounding this one with a brace, and here I'm giving it as an index. Whichever the index I want, I'm just specifying with that particular index here. That's it. That's a simple point which we need to consider. Okay, good. So let's try to do that here in a Salesforce. Surrounding it with a brace now, and here index, I'm trying to pass on this index here. So this open brace and index as a 2. Where is this XPath? Okay, let me write this XPath once. There is some issue. Okay, slash slash span open braces at the rate a class is equal to. I'm surrounding it with the braces. Index of 2. So my requirement is I want to click on the second object itself. See, basically multiple users are getting displayed here. First, suppose if I change it to 3, then the custom objects, third object, 4, 5, 6. The desired object will be identified using this index concept. Okay, and here we are giving always the tag name. Sometimes in the real world, whenever we are working on our applications, maybe this tag name will change. That's the reason we will specify the tag name as star. It means it's a regular expression. Whatever the tag name is there, that's fine. I'm good with that. Okay, whatever the tag name is there, that's fine. I'm just good with that. That's a simple point which we need to consider. Okay, cool. Is this point clear for you?
So can we use star for every
Yes, we
whenever?
can use it.
Okay. So can you show an example
Yes,
at
I
that
will do
type
that. I will do
program?
that. Okay, so let's go back here, and instead of this span, I'm just replacing it with a star. Still, I'm able to identify this particular one. Okay, still I'm able to identify this particular one. That's it. That's the simple point. Okay, so there is no change in that, but the way how it is identifying will just change. Okay, good. So this is what an XPath is. Now you can use this XPath and write in your program too. So what I'm going to do right now is let me close this stuff. batch 126 web, and where is this bing.com? Okay, let me see this. I guess this is the program where we have created this. Yeah, so copy this program, paste it again, and here in this, instead of using these two, driver dot find element by dot xpath dot click, and here is the xpath, and I am removing this label with a star now. Okay, I'm just updating this label with a star now. Okay, fine, done the deal. And then the next point that we need to consider is copy this xpath, go back to your program, and replace the xpath here. That's it. Replace this xpath here. Now, let me try to run this script as a Java application. Okay, so yes, let it run and let us see this. See, the search results got a displayed for me. That's it. So this is the simple way how exactly we are going to use this particular one. Good. Any questions or you are good so far?
Uh, sir, if in this, if we go with the class name, like in that value is like having spaces. So is it the same process to go with that also?
Yes, of course. See, the thing is, when you are using a direct class name, then it's not going to recognize with the spaces. But if you are writing down there in your XPath, we no need to bother about the space. So basically, let me show you that here. This is what a class is, right? Slash slash star open braces at the rate class is equal to. See, still we were able to identify this object. Copy this XPath from here and paste it in the program, and let me try to run this script. Okay, fine. See, the actions got performed. Okay, good. Done the deal. Okay, and once we are done up to here, okay, so yeah, that's fine. So this is a simple scenario on this, and the next one out over here is examples on frames. So yesterday we discussed about the frames stating that it's a portion of a web page where in which using these frames we are going to identify whether a desired object is inside a frame or not, and we are going to perform the operations on that. Right. So a quick question out over there is how would I know that my desired object is inside a frame or not? Okay, so how would I know that whether my email or whether my desired object is inside a frame or not? Okay, good. Let us see that. So what I'm going to do right now is jQuery UI. I'm just going with a date picker. So for me, I was just looking at this particular application and it almost looks like a regular application for me. Just like a normal web app itself, I can find it. Now, what I'm going to do right now is on top of this particular one, okay, so here, let me right click on this text field, inspect. See here, it has an ID property. Okay, that's fine. Let me create a basic program that will be clicking on that particular text field. So here, copy this 14th program, paste it up, and here, delete the unnecessary commands, open the application URL, and here, now, this is what my object is there. I don't know whether that object is in a frame or not. So driver dot find element by ID. So this is what an ID, right? By dot ID dot click. See, this is what the ID property that I have captured for this particular object. So I just copied this one, and now let me try to run my test script. Run as a Java application. So if you observe now, we didn't even check whether that particular object is inside a frame or not. I just identified my object and I specified in my script, but I'm 100% sure that this date picker ID property is there in the HTML. If you go back to my script is stating that no such element exception in the web page. Then here is a point where we need to consider. See, paints. Let me open it up. This is what your web page is. Okay, this is what our web page is. And here in this web page, so assume that the web page was divided into multiple frames. Okay, the web page was divided into multiple frames. Okay, that's fine. So the next point which we need to consider is this is a frame one. This frame has a separate HTML. And again, there is an another frame. This frame, again, it has a separate HTML. This third frame is also having a separate HTML. All the frames are having a three different HTMLs, and the main web page is having a separate HTML too. Okay, the main web page is also having a separate HTML too. So it means main web page is having a separate HTML. These frames are also having a separate HTML. As and whenever we ask your web driver to find an element, it will be identifying that element in this HTML. Your web driver don't know that whether the desired object is inside this frame or this frame or this frame. It don't even know that particular stuff. So that's the reason It's our responsibility to identify whether the desired object is inside a frame or not. If it is inside a frame, then we need to tell our WebDriver that, buddy, my object is inside a frame. First of all, before performing the operation, switch to the frame. Okay, before performing the operation, switch to the frame. That's what we need to inform to our WebDriver. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back here. And then how would I know whether it is inside a frame or not? So usually whenever we notice that the object is inside a web page but your WebDriver is not recognizing, definitely it's inside a frame itself. So that's the reason in the HTML, search for frame. All the frames in a web page will start with an iframe, frame set, or a frame tag. Iframe, frame set, and as well as a frame tag. That's it. Okay. And here, if you observe the frame, whenever I search it for, see here, one of one, and I can see the iframe here. It's identifying a single frame on this particular web page. Okay, it's identifying a single frame in this particular web page. Get. And that frame is having, okay, that frame is having a class name. Okay, that frame is having a class name. Okay, good enough. Good enough. So, the next point that we need to consider is this frame is having a class name. Copy this class name, go back to the program now, and here, before handling this, driver dot find element by dot xpath. Let me write down an xpath first of all. Open brace at the rate class is equal to. I have one object. Copy it, paste the xpath here, and the find element I can store it in a web element. Web element fr equal to. Fr itself means it's a frame basically. I'm storing a frame there. And the next point that we need to consider here is once after we have specified that, okay, now driver dot switch to dot frame. In order to switch to any web frame, there are three different methods are there. Frame using an index, frame using a string, frame using a web element. In the current situation, of course, we are using a web element fr. But if you know the index of your frame, like 0th means the first frame, index 1 means the second frame, like that. If you know those indexes precisely, then you can pass on that index. And if the frame is having either the name or an ID property, then we can use a string argument there. Other than that, if the frame is having any other properties, then we can use this. Okay, then we can use this web element. Now, I just used this single line in line number 19, which is driver dot switch to dot frame. That's it. Driver dot switch to dot frame. Now, when I go back and let me try to run my scripts, run as a Java application. Okay, see, this time we didn't get any issues out over here. Okay, this time we didn't get any issues out over here. Okay, good. That's fine. It switched the frame and it performed that operation too. Okay, it switched that frame and it performed that particular operation too. Perfect. Done the deal. And then The next point which we need to consider out over here is, let's try to handle this date picker functionality. So basically, we are using a click command on that particular text field. When I run my test script as a Java application this time, if you observe, as it is performing a click operation on the text field, say a calendar is being populated. What I'm going to do right now means, first of all, let us maximize this browser. Driver dot manage dot window dot maximize. If you didn't remember these commands, please watch the yesterday's and as well as the day before yesterday's video. We just covered this concept in the last two sessions. Okay, so here driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, and now when I run my test script this time, I can easily identify whether it is switching to the frame and whether it is clicking that particular object or not. I can say, see here, the calendar got populated now. So now my requirement is I need to handle this calendar. How to do that activity? So here, once you clicked on this calendar, these dates are being populated. I need to write down a command that will be picking up one date from this calendar. Okay, I need to write down a command that will be picking up a date from the calendar. So right click on any one of these dates, inspects. I noticed that it is starting with the tag name as A. And right click on other date, inspect, even it is starting with the tag name as A. So all the dates, all the dates in the calendar are starting with the tag name as A itself. So whenever any object in the browser is starting with the tag name as A, then we can use link text command. Driver dot find element by link text command. So here, come back. Driver dot find element by dot link text of 25th dot click. That's it. Driver dot find element by dot link text dot click. That's it. Let me try to run my program and see how this is going to work. Run as a Java application. See, let us see this, how this is going to work. See, 25th from this month got picked. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can deal with these calendars. Gets. And now the scenario for your practice is, as of now we are picking March 25th, right? I don't want to pick March 25th. I just want to click on April 25th. In order to click on an April 25th, even the only thing that you guys will do is you will be clicking on this next button manually. Okay, so you'll be clicking on this the next button manually, right? So even you need to write down a command that will be clicking on this the next button to perform this operation. So just click on a next button and perform this logic. And if you want, you can just click on this next button for multiple times using a for loop or a while loop and then perform the click. Maybe I just want to go with till December. Use a while loop and then navigate till December and then see how it's going to work. Okay, guys, is this point clear for you? Or any questions for me on this scenario? Good, fine. And then once we are done up to here, Okay, so once we are done up to here, then the next point is we just need to jump on to the next scenario.